All right, welcome in. It's Tuesday morning. Time for Total Bases, your go-to show for Major League Baseball free picks right here on WagerTalk TV. There's no time for anything else. This is as loaded of a slate as we've had. I feel like I want to talk about every game. I don't know if an hour is going to be even close to enough. So I'm just going to go straight in. And for whatever reason, the viewership on this show has like a collective hard-on for the Tigers. Which is fine. They've been playing great ball this year. But I've already seen the Tigers comments starting. Brian Leonard, you were not here last week when your guy Sawyer Gipson-Long finally made his way back into, we'll call it the rotation. I think he was more of a bulk guy in one of those games last week. I rarely say this because of where the value is. I think I kind of like the Tigers today. And your guy Gipson-Long is on the mound. What do you think there?
Yeah, the Tigers 12-4 versus lefties, going today against Povich, who's a guy I've been fading constantly all season long. Although, to his credit, he's pitched better as the season's gone on, which is good for the Orioles and good for the team that expected much more than what they've done. They're finally starting to play a little bit better ball. But, yeah, to catch Detroit here as an underdog, I think is kind of crazy. Baltimore's had a lot of success, but they haven't really played a team of this caliber. Yes, a lot of Detroit fans in the chat, and I do want to say, we all go back after the games are over, and when you make comments in the YouTube videos, we all go back in and chat with the people. I totally, and I'm sure I'm speaking about both of you guys. We're just loving all the action you guys are giving us, all the love. We really appreciate it. Now, even though we haven't had that many winners on our parlays lately, thank you to me last night with the extra inning Phillies under, but it's really meant a lot to all of us, and management sees it, and management is congratulating us on it. So keep it up, guys. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we can get you more winners here. But yeah, I love Gipson-Long here. The only problem is, we don't know how long he's going to go. Very similar to what Miley did yesterday against Cleveland. I would expect him to get, 80 innings or so. Probably won't be there long enough to get a win, but 80 innings gives us four good innings out of him. And he's been very good. He's only had 2 seasons. He's undefeated in his major league career. He's had 5 games and he's 1-0, but he comes in with a 3.42 career ERA. So far this season, in his only game, he went 3.2 innings, did not pitch well, 7.36 ERA, 1.64 whip, expected ERA of 11.93. Much positive regression in his future. I really like this guy. He's going to be one of the better pitchers in this Detroit rotation, and we've already talked, for the most part, they got 3 or 4 guys that I really like in this rotation. So I like the situation here with Detroit and going against the Baltimore team that I think is playing over their head right now. Yes, I like Detroit in this game.
Yeah, I've never met anyone named Sawyer before. Interesting name. I guess the young people, they have weird names now. So
Southern United States, I would bet there's a lot of Bubbas and Sawyers.
I've met Bubbas before, but never a Sawyer. But yeah, Tigers have the best record in MLB. I mean, they're the best team in MLB. You can't argue that. The thing is, the Orioles bullpen's playing really well right now. Numbers wise, like Brian mentioned, that Gipson, he had a horrible start against the White Sox, but that doesn't mean he's a horrible pitcher. He had a good 20 innings or so last season. Respectable 3-something ERA and a 1.1 whip. So very respectable. He's probably going to pitch much better than he did against the White Sox. The Orioles bullpen is pitching really well, which worries me a bit. But obviously the Tigers are a better run organization. Too many variables in this one, so I'm not gonna play this one. But there's no way you could take the Orioles. So it's Tigers or nothing, I would imagine. Adam.
Well, I think we got to define. We throw the word horrible around a little too easily. Like, horrible is Lucas Giolito giving up 7 runs in an inning, right? Like, and not being able to get out of a second inning. Gibson Long wasn't that bad last week. I watched that game. Tigers won 5-4. It was really, they kind of dicked him around too. They had him going, he was going to be their bulk guy on like Wednesday, and then or Tuesday, or the middle game of that series against the White Sox. Hinch decided he was going to go straight up bullpen game, like 1 inning from every reliever. And then they let him start the next game. So he wasn't that bad. I mean, 70 pitches. He gave up a couple runs, only 1 walk. It was probably not the most favorable scenario, where he probably thought he was pitching one day, got pushed off to the next day. I expect him with Brian. He's a guy that I think is going to be pretty solid. All the underlying metrics suggest he's going to be very good. I wouldn't read too much into last week's start. That's I don't think that was a huge deal. I think it was, first big league action of the year, probably on a pitch count. I think 70 to 75 pitches was probably the target for him last week. So he hit it, kept his team in the game. They ended up winning the game. I've actually found spots to back Povich the last couple times. He is pitched better than he was pitching earlier in the year. That being said, he's had some, what I consider to be favorable matchups. So I cashed backing Povich last week in Seattle, right? Or when the Orioles were at Seattle. That's a park that is a little bit more forgiving to pitchers. And, going back, like, again, he's had the Nationals game, right? We've talked about the Nats' struggles against left-handed pitching. So I'm looking through his recent starts. The Nats twice, the Mariners game, a lot of those really set up nicely for him. Back to what Brian said, I don't think this sets up as good for Povich against a team that's done well against left-handed pitching. So Tigers will be on my short list today with about 10 other games. We'll have to see if we can, we'll have to see if which one gets there. But Tigers is certainly appealing, especially at this price. All right. So I got to throw, Brian brought up the parlay. Brutal way to go down. Phillies team total loses in extra innings. That's a tough way to lose. But G Hurt says cash the parlay as a W. I know some of you guys had the first 5 under in there because you couldn't parlay the team total together. So we can't count it, but you guys can. And you know what you can do to thank us for that? Like and subscribe and start running it up in the comments for us, because I know some of you guys cashed that parlay last night with a couple extra inning wins. How about, what a day, what a game, what a slate of 9 games last night, 5 extra inning games. I thought I was headed to bed, and Dominic Canzone says, not so fast, 2-run jack to send that into extra innings. What a day of baseball. One of those extra innings games, let's go back to that, Red Sox-Rays game. So much going on in that game. The Rays end up pulling it out in extra innings. Andrew Weidler says, are we going back to Rays money line today? Brian Leonard, what do you think?
Well, let's take a look at it. Pepio against Giolito. Giolito's a guy that's still struggling to find himself coming back from surgery or from injury. Pepio's been up and down. I think Pepio's got a great future, but he has not pitched that well so far this year. Looking at the numbers on this matchup, when you look at the StatCast page, and somebody in the forum asked yesterday about how we could get to the StatCast page, the Savant page, or whatever. It's on Major League Baseball website, so you can find it there. It's something that it's a must-have for my handicapping. Pepio on the season, 3.20 ERA, but his expected ERA is 4.24. So a little negative regression coming his way. 1.13 whip is pretty good. He's got good extension, but he's a fly ball pitcher. He's only in the 25th percentile, 28th percentile in hard hit, 35th in barrel rate. So he has not pitched great this year. His strikeout to walk ratio so far this year is about 13.8. That's a little bit less than what we're looking for. Giolito, we know what's going on with him. 6.42 ERA, 5.80 expected ERA, 1.63 whip. And in his career, as good as his, like, if you follow Giolito, and I followed him for years because he was one of these guys that was so hyped up, and you thought he was just going to be a great pitcher, the next Strasburg or whatever. But he's got a 1.27 whip in his career. That is something to worry about. 4.49 ERA. He's got great extension, 91st percentile, but hard hit rate, 16th percentile, whiff rate, 8th percentile, average exit velocity. So both these guys do get hit. And the way Tampa Bay's offense is hitting right now, you would think that they'd be able to get to Boston. This is one of those ballparks that is a good hitting ballpark. In fact, the big deal out of Fenway is not the home runs, it's the hits. They average 12% more hits than an average ballpark is. So if you like to play the runs, hits, and errors, I could see that. That's not something we discuss much on this show, but I could see that as something to play an over on for these two teams combined. Like Pepio a little bit here. Team totals looks like it's probably going to be 4.5, 5 between these two. Look for an over in this one for myself, and with a slight lean to Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, Pepio, Giolito. I have Giolito ranked one of the worst pitchers in Major League Baseball because he is not pitching well at all. I mean, it's amazing. 4 or 5 years ago, he was an absolute stud, bet on guy, guy you could trust and ride, but he's not that anymore for sure. I don't know if we're going to see positive regression with Giolito. I think what we're seeing now is what he is. Pepio, slightly better than average performance so far in the season. I expect him to improve a little bit. Tampa's bullpen performing quite well. I have them ranked 9, and I have their hitting ranked 6. So they're really crushing it right now. But Boston, I have their lineup ranked 3. So they're crushing it pretty good too. But of course, this takes a lot of weight and puts it on current form. So if you blow up, if you have a 12-0 game, yeah, that'll affect the ranking a little bit and skew it a little bit. But nothing can skew the fact that both of these teams are raking pretty well right now. I have both bullpens ranked slightly above average. Tampa Bay has an edge in bullpen. Tampa Bay has an edge in starting pitching. But Boston has a slight edge in hitting. I'll probably stay off of it, but I wouldn't argue with an over, and I wouldn't argue with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, over almost seems too easy. Like, I'm looking at this saying, how is there not at least 10 runs in this game? This would have been the spot for you to call someone horrible, TB. Giolito has been awful. Like, totally just, I mean, he wasn't even making competitive pitches against the Angels last week. Gets bailed out by giving up 4 runs in the first, bailed out. The Red Sox followed up with 5. Then he gave up 3 more. Couldn't get out of the second inning. I don't think that's a fluke based on, like, if you've watched him this year like that. I'm surprised he didn't get shipped out after that start. Like, I figured he would either have gotten sent down or they would have just, like, gone in a different direction. They have a couple of arms at AAA. Like, I don't know why they're still running out Giolito at this point. But then again, this is the same organization that kept their best player at Worcester for the first couple months of the season, probably trying to save $1 or 2. That's something that we need to point out. Roman Anthony debut last night. He'll help that lineup. So their lineup just got better. I know he was like, whatever, 0-3, 0-4 in his debut. Don't read too much into that. He is an absolute stud. Their lineup just got better. And another, like, both bullpens are cooked to the point where you had the Rays, and this is like Kevin Cash just gives 0 Fs, really. Putting Ian Seymour has been a starter basically his whole career in the minors. And Kevin Cash was like, pal, we need you to go out and make your major league debut in the 10th inning at Fenway Park, and you're going to inherit a runner in the process. And then Aranda ruined his debut with a terrible error, and he came out and got the last 3 outs to win that game. Amazing stuff in that game last night. Bottom line here is both, like you guys said, both lineups kind of rolling right now. The Red Sox are starting to hit there. If you looked at what the Red Sox were offensively a couple weeks ago compared to what they've been the last week or two, they're really starting to come around hitting the ball. Roman Anthony just makes them that much better. I don't see how there's not double-digit runs in this game. So get ready for that 2-1 pitchers duel somehow with 2 guys that haven't been great. But seriously, this one looks like it should get to 10 runs.
And Andrew, I like your picture there. That's cool. Very stylish.
Mark Hinson, I'll answer for Titan CT. I know the CT stands for Connecticut because he gets my Hartford Yard Goats references every time I happen to bring them up. So And he's, like I said, Titan CT's been watching my show since I think my first day on Wager Talk. So shout out to him and appreciate all of you guys in the chat. Here's one. Let's go to Colin Gregory. The Guardians can't hit lefties. Has him looking at Reds first 5 money line. I'll throw it to Brian Leonard to talk about I think Slade Ciccone, I think he's just a failed project at this point. The Diamondbacks decided he wasn't worth their time anymore. I know the Guardians probably thought they could have squeezed something out there because he did show flashes, but I just don't think this guy's it. You're a Guardians fan. You watch all the Guardians games. How are you seeing this one?
I watched the game again yesterday, and I'm starting to lose faith in the Cleveland coaching staff. They're making some moves right now that just don't make any sense at all. Lane Thomas came back from injury. He's a guy that has hit lefties extremely well in his career. He's terrible against righties. Then in a key moment in the last inning, they decide to pitch hit for the guy in front of him and let him bat against a righty that's the closer for the Reds. That totally confused me. They had other options there. Cleveland's making some lineup changes. They sent Noel back down to the minors, so I think that was something that should have come. Jonathan Rodriguez, they got to find out if he is as good as what he has shown in the minors. He's played right field the last 2 days. He's going to be rotating with Nolan Jones, who is just a terrible player. He's got a gun for an arm, but if you watched a key moment yesterday, he took the worst. It was a routine fly ball to right field, and he took the worst route to get there. I hate talking about my beloved Indians, Guardians, whatever, but I'm so frustrated, and they've been living on borrowed time for the last 3 or 4 years. I still don't see anything that makes me want to play on them, especially today, playing a lefty again. Now, the only drawback is they played Miley yesterday was a lefty. They hit him pretty well, but that's Wade Miley coming off of an injury. That's a different story today is Andrew Abbott. Other than his last start, he has been terrific all season long. I don't know why Cincinnati is the slight underdog here. I would expect Cincinnati to go off this game as probably a 120 favorite. So we'll have to see. But at this point, I like the Cincinnati part. But like I said, back-to-back lefties isn't quite the advantage you'd like to have here. But Andrew Abbott on the season, 2.18 ERA, 3.23 expected, 1.06 whip. He is a fly ball pitcher. And since they've redesigned the stadium a little bit, they do it's more of a home run park, right center field. The ball seems to go out that way. But he's been able to put up these numbers in Cincinnati with a 4% percentile ground ball rate. He's a fly ball pitcher in Cincinnati, and his three seasons in Major League Baseball, he's got a 3.5 ERA, 1.26 whip. He has something on that ballpark and something on these fly balls where he keeps everybody off balance, and you've got to give him credit. For a couple of years, I keep thinking he's getting lucky. And sure enough, this year, his expected ERA is over a 1 run higher, but he's able to beat that, and he's beat it every single year of his 3-year career. I like Abbott here. Cleveland's offense is lousy, and now Kwan is slumping a little bit, so that leaves them only one major league hitter, and that's their all-star. So I prefer Cincinnati here, and if you want to bet it, I would bet it now because I think they go off as a 120 favorite in this game.
This is going to be my parlay leg. I'm going to take the Reds on the money line here. Abbott's just been pitching lights out. I was hoping Brian didn't take it before me like he did yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Reds are top 10 in every category I rank. And Abbott, he's not walking anyone. I mean, he's walking a few people. That's an exaggeration, but his walk rate is amazing. I have the Reds batting 10. I have the Reds bullpen 5, and I have their starting pitcher Abbott 10 on a curve of 30, where I have the Guardians batting 22 and their bullpen 15. Coming into the season, the Guardians are supposed to have one of the best bullpens in MLB. Underperforming. They do have talent in their bullpen, but they're underperforming. I like the Reds here. I mean, a lot of people say, yeah, they won yesterday. Back-to-back's hard. I tend to be one of those, unless it's a really, really unusual situation. I think every game is kind of its own entity. I don't really think it's difficult to win 2 games in a row. I think today's game, the pitcher didn't pitch yesterday. Doesn't matter. The pitcher is going to be half the result here. So travel and stuff like that is a different story. But I don't think winning yesterday has much to do with today's game, unless some guys got injured or are in a big slump or something like that. I like Cincinnati here. They're hot pitcher. I don't think Andrew Abbott can keep this up all season, but I'll take him at home here. Or I'm sorry, he's on the road. Never mind. He's 5-1 with a 2.18 ERA. I don't think he's going to keep this up all season. But I watched Ciccone at Arizona, and I did not like what I saw. So give me Cincinnati here. I'll make it a minus 102 on Pinnacle. That's amazing. So whatever it is, minus 110, whatever. Take it. Go ahead, Brian.
Brian, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate to do this, but we've got to go back a couple games. According to our Odds Logic site, Herter has now been set up as the opener for Detroit. So if you've already played the Sawyer situation, you probably have to go back in and rebet it, because it looks like they're going with an opener.
Yeah, which is kind of what I mean. So I would have expected the Tigers to do that. Like, that's like AJ Hinch. Pretty much, if you're not Flaherty or Skubal or like Reese Olson when he's in the rotation, like if Hinch thinks he's going to get like a decent matchup for one of his relievers against the top 3 of your batting order, he's going to use an opener. I wouldn't have that change your Tigers handicap one bit. And Brian, pretty much all these legals outside of Vegas at this point, I don't even think they really let you list pitchers anymore. I think it's like just most of them just like assume you want to bet action. But yeah, that's a really good point. Fully expect them to use an opener in front of Gibson Long. That's just something Hinch does. Tokyo Brandon, I would have made this my parlay if you didn't fully agree on the Reds. Think it's insane. Brian, what do we have for odds here? Like even money? Minus 105? Where are we at?
They're about minus 102 just about everywhere.
Minus 102 is what I see.
Yeah, how are they? Again, I haven't bet this yet. And the reason I haven't played this and haven't played, if I played everything I had an opinion on today, I'd have 10 plays. So I'm just trying to, like, pare down the card a little bit right now. But yeah, like Ciccone, as I said, opening this, throwing it over to Brian, I think the Ciccone experiment has failed a little bit. He's someone that the Arizona Diamondbacks kind of caught lightning in a bottle with for a minute when they called him up. I don't think I certainly never expected him to like appear in a playoff game for the Diamondbacks, but he did that year when he got kind of called up, caught fire. Really, he had people off balance with his changeup for a minute. Now he's just not fooling anyone, and his stuff is just not good enough to beat major league hitters if you're not fooling anyone. That's really what it comes down to with him. You look at the the other thing I wanted to point out. Very easy way to get what you want for Baseball Savant. Like literally just put Slade Ciccone Savant in Google. It'll come right to his page. Like it's much easier than like trying to like sift through the website. Pitcher name Savant in the Google browser comes up first thing that comes up every time. And when you click that, when you Google him and click his link, you will see a lot of blue. And when you see a lot of blue on the Savant page, that's not good. And that's really what he is at this point. I think he could be a nice depth guy. He's a guy that should be giving you innings at Columbus, where if you are absolutely in a bind, he can come up and give you some a start or two. He's not someone that should be in a rotation every 5th day. Why he's still getting priced as this like serviceable option, Brian, is beyond me. And I'm with you. I don't get it with this Guardians team. I don't think they're a good baseball team this year. The bullpen's regressed considerably, and yet they still get priced as a team that's going to win the AL Central. Don't understand it. TV's all over the Reds right here, and I agree with them. I like the Reds in this spot.
I do.
All right, let's get let's keep rolling right along. Here's one. We got to bring. Oh, Brian's not going to want to talk about this game, but we have to. Justin Coolin, first time I've seen you in the comments, so welcome in. Appreciate the interaction and the question. The Phillies last night, man. It's just unfortunate how that played out. Of course, the Cubs get a run. It means now the Phillies have to get 2 to win, and that's what they did. Every other under would have basically cashed in that game. The handicap was spot on. I hate the ghost runner rule. It has to go. The ghost. This isn't like this isn't recess. We're not playing out in the backyard putting ghost runners on because we don't have enough guys to run the bases. Insane rule. It's the worst rule change in the history of professional sports. But we deal with it. That's what they want to do. Back to Cubs Phillies. This one goes extras. Phillies walk it off last night. Do you see the Phillies coming back with another win here?
As for the rules, I do like the 20-second rule on the pitch count. That is really, once everybody got used to it, it was a godsend. There's certain guys that have not gotten used to it, and they've never made it back to the majors because of it. Yeah, I think that's a very good rule. And you're right. I don't like it, but the only thing that it bothers me on is totals, unfortunately. Your better teams that know how to score should have an easier time in the extra innings than other teams who really struggle to do that. But yeah, it was the right handicap, wrong result, and that's what happens. 10 innings of 2-run ball should have been a winner, but what are you going to do? That's baseball. Colin Ray going for the Cubs today. He's got a lot of blue on his StatCast page. Comes in with a 3.59 ERA, but his expected ERA is 4.81. So he's been pretty lucky so far. 1.35 WHIP is high. He's got a career 1.28 WHIP, so we're used to seeing this out of him. Doesn't walk a lot of guys. 70th percentile. His extension is 70th percentile, but everything else is in the blue, as you pointed out. So he's not a guy I'm looking to back most of the time. And he's going against Mick Abel, who's a guy that so far, so good with the Phillies. He's gotten 2 starts. He's been excellent. 0.79 ERA, 0.71 WHIP, but his expected ERA is 3.14. Still a good number, but he's been a little bit lucky so far. His hard hit rate is bad. Average exit velocity is bad, so he's been getting hit a little bit, but he won't show to be as good as what he has done so far. When you take a look at his expected ERA, 2 teams here with the right-handers on the mound, and we've got 2 pretty good hitting ball clubs. With the game going to extra innings yesterday, your bullpens aren't going to be quite as good, quite as useful as they would be off of a day off, but still not a bad situation. I lean with the over, but probably won't get there. Like you said, there's so many other games on the card today that got a little taste in my mouth for right now. So I'll be passing on this one likely.
I'll be passing as well. Too many variables for me. I mean, Abel has pitched great, but the sample size is so small. Don't really know what to expect. And Colin Ray is, I mean, he'll have a game where he goes like a 4-game stretch giving up 1 earned run, and then he has 2 games where he gives up 6 earned runs and no strikeouts. And then he'll come back and strike 8 guys out. He's just so up and down. I don't know which he's Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know which Colin Ray we're going to get today. One thing to note, though, Phillies bullpen and batting are both not in a good state right now. I liked Brian's under actually yesterday because they're just not hitting the ball very well. They're too talented to be. I said this about the Padres yesterday. The Phillies, their lineup is too good to be this bad right now, performing this badly. Cubs are not really performing well either. They started the season like a bat out of hell, and now they're just kind of, toiling in mediocrity, as I like to say. Phillies bullpen, something's wrong with them. But when you get a game like this, I would lean to the over, but I'm not going to play it because of the aforementioned too many variables. But these 2 teams are just too talented. And when you get 2 bullpens that are underperforming like this, yeah, you tend to see one of those 9-6 games. I don't know if it's going to get there, though, so I'm not going to play it.
I don't think the sample size is too small. I mean, this guy is so. This
Two
is the
games?
example. This is why you got to watch. This is why you got to watch AAA baseball. This dude's been pitching at AAA for 2 years. This would be an example of an organization. This is how it's supposed to go, right? This guy was a first-round draft pick back in 2020. He got up to AAA last year. He struggled a little bit. Since the Phillies are a well-run organization that is not like a lot of these teams are just so desperate that they see a prospect get to AAA and they're like, well, it's either that or Antonio Senzatela for the 18th time, giving up 10 runs. So we might as well go with the prospect. The Phillies, since they function as a team they're a good team, well-run organization. Mick Abel gets to AAA. You know, it's not all there. They don't have to call him up. They let him pitch a whole season at AAA, goes through a whole MLB offseason. Guess what? He comes back to AAA this year. He's lights out. Now he gets up to the big leagues. Not at all surprising that he's done what he's done because he's a former first rounder. I fully expect him to continue to do what he's doing. And it's going to take the books a minute to catch up like for that because like TV, they're going off of kind of, you know, where you're like, oh, it's a small sample. We've only seen him for this long at the big league level. It's like when you have a guy that has that big of a sample at AAA, you can, especially with pitchers, you can kind of figure out like what you're going to get. And I fully expect him to be, he's going to be in the Phillies rotation for a long time. This kid he's the real deal. He's a former first rounder. They gave him the time he needed to mature into a big league caliber arm. He's not up too early. He's going to continue to just be awesome, in my opinion. And this is another play I like. So Phillies, we'll circle back to this. This might be my parlay leg. I haven't decided yet. The only thing putting me off is some of the stuff that people are saying in the chat. Again, we have very smart viewers. Phillies bullpen's a disaster, and that concerns me. And of course, they haven't quite hit. And you know, you got a guy like Colin Rhea who has horrible numbers against left-handed bats. This is where Harper not in the lineup is really concerning to me. This would be like Bryce Harper. This would be a dream matchup for him. And so to not have him in there against a guy like Rhea, that's concerning. But I really do like Abel. Maybe find a way to isolate Abel in some way. Brian Leonard, what do you got?
Yeah, there's somebody in the chat brings up weather. According to Roto Grinders, which is what I use, there's many places out there. They do a very good job on weather. The wind is blowing out in every single stadium today, but they're all single digits. So I don't know if it'll make that much of a difference. We do have a little bit of rain. He mentioned the Philadelphia game. All I'm showing right now is the most 5% precipitation right before the game. So it doesn't seem to be a problem. According to this website, he's saying something a little bit different. So always double check on your weather reports to make sure somebody hasn't missed anything.
Andy Lang is in the chat.
Hey.
What's going on? Wager Talk today at noon. Everyone should be watching that show. He's doing a tremendous job, in my opinion, with that show. That's on noon, same channel. So hope you're tuning into that at noon. Andy, if you want a specific game, you just hop in the chat. Let us know. We'll hit it. That's how this show works. We run pretty much entirely off the comments and try to get to as many as we can in the hour. But yeah, appreciate you, all of you guys in the chat. Let's go to Ethan. He says, I'm tempted to back the Nats every game. Not great current form, but I like the spot with Mackenzie Gore on the mound. I'm interested to see if Brian disagrees because Griffin Canning is Brian's guy this year. Gets out of Anaheim, and he's suddenly a new man. He's on the mound for the Mets. What do you think here, Brian? Mets Nationals.
All right, let me get to my stats on that one. Yeah, Gore's kind of been a guy we talked about last time out that maybe we were too high on Gore. We seem to be on Gore all the time, and then he pitched a great game. So he does have a lot of red in his portfolio here at Savant. He comes in with a 2.87 ERA, 3.21 expected ERA, so he's right where he should be. 1.14 WHIP, which is the big change in Gore this year, his career average, even this season with 4 seasons, is a 1.38 whip. So he's gotten that under control. And if that is the case, he is an ace's ace. Now, he does get hit hard. His hard hit percentage is in the 19th percentile, average exit velocity in the 22nd percentile, but he's 96% strikeout percentile, 93rd whiff percentile, 85th chase percentile. The guy's a good pitcher, no doubt about it. I make such a big deal about this strikeout to walk ratio. His strikeout to walk ratio is 28.6. That's up there with the starting pitcher for Philadelphia that went yesterday. He is doing a terrific job, so there's got to be a reason to play against him. Griffin Canning, his numbers are not quite as good. He's a little bit lucky so far this year. 2.90 ERA, but his expected ERA is 4.10, so it's over a run higher. 1.32 whip. That's pretty much what he's done in his entire career. A ground ball pitcher, that's where he gets it all from. That's his best attribute, 85th percentile, but he does get hit. So, yeah, I think I'm in agreement here. I take a look at this game, and the current line for what we're seeing right now is the Mets, the Nationals are just getting hit as we speak. Pinnacle, Bet Online, and Heritage, 3 of the sharpest books that I look for, they're all gotten hit on the underdog here. I like the underdog. We can still get like a 135, 137 here on Washington as a dog. That would be the way I would look here. Yeah, Washington's the team that I seem to be on a lot, and they're an underrated underdog, and I think they get it done today.
Before I do my cap on this game, I would not be a professional capper if I didn't address the dog poo day that I had yesterday. My chronic walkers, all of them walked 1 or less. That was horrible. And so, yes, I'm addressing that. I can't believe Kikuchi threw 40 balls and only walked 1 guy. I can't believe that Bayo walked only 1 guy and Ortiz only walked 1 guy. It was like, if you had bet those 3 pitchers to walk less than 1.5 and parlayed that, you probably would have made $1 million yesterday. They were the 3 most walking guys in all of MLB. So I addressed it, chat. Okay, get off my back. I had a bad day. We all have a bad day. On to this cap. Amazingly, I have Mackenzie Gore ranked the number 7 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. Do I think he's the number 7 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball? Probably not. But numbers wise, he's performing like the number 7 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. I don't think anyone would argue with that. The problem is he's facing a lineup that's red hot right now. Mets are just cranking it right now. We have 2 of the worst performing bullpens in the game right now facing each other. It doesn't mean that the Mets are not talented, because the Mets bullpen has been ranked really high and then they've been ranked really low. They're fluctuating quite aggressively, but right now they're not in good form. Did have the day off yesterday, so maybe that brings them back to good form. But I have the Nationals hitting and bullpen ranked really, really, really low right now. I've always thought of the Nationals, and I've said it in prior shows, that are a sneaky play that the books don't like them, and you can make money taking a Washington Nationals team total. They got Wood, who's cranking it right now. CJ Abrams, he's leadoff and he's stealing bases and he's doing everything. Great leadoff guy. So they have potential to score runs, but they're cold right now. So, or excellent pitcher, but he's going against a lineup that's better than his lineup. And these are 2 bad bullpens currently. Might take it. No, I can't bet anything in this one. I'm off it.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, there's been some talk in the forum right there about the weather in New York. It looks like 34% chance of rain all day long. Some guy says it's already bad. The game starts at 7:10. Supposedly at 8 o'clock is only 2% chance of rain. So it may be a little bit delayed at the start, but it shouldn't have an effect on the game. Very similar to the rain in Boston. Boston is going to have somewhere in the 20 to 28% chance of rain for the game. I've seen teams don't want to lose money. So there's going to be ways to get these in. I'm not worried about any type of cancellation on these games, but something to keep in mind, especially as we've talked in the past about the rain that comes as the game is going on, and you don't want to base your bet on an excellent starting pitcher. Then all of a sudden he throws 3 innings, and the rain hits, and he's got to sit for an hour, and then you get 3 innings out of your starter. So always pay attention to the weather, and hopefully it'll clear up here, and the Mets game will get in as well as the Red Sox game.
Yeah, so I'll comment on I guess the Nats form. Mid May to the end of May, I really felt like they kind of caught lightning in a bottle a little bit. They called up Dalen Lyle, and it was like they were running out a lineup of left-handed hitters 1 through 9 that were just destroying right-handed pitching, and it was everything was just kind of clicking for them, kind of masking some of their issues that TB kind of brought up. The bullpen's not that deep. Sometimes the starting pitching can be good, but it's certainly not great in comparison to other teams in the league. Gore's very good, but not the best starting rotation. There's some upside there, but not the best. I kind of, I don't think they played good at all against the Cubs or the Rangers. Anything I caught from those 2 series was kind of, I feel like the Nats coming down from that high a little bit, where they had this 2-week run where everything worked. I saw they sent Lyle back to AAA. He was a guy that he lit it up in AA so much that they couldn't help themselves. He was at AAA for a couple of weeks. They're like, we've got to get him up. I see they sent him back to AAA, replaced him, I think, with Alex Call is the guy that's now back in that lineup. I don't know that the Nats just aren't firing on all cylinders enough for me. And I wouldn't be that surprised if the Mets got to Gore. This Mets team is just going to keep winning, in my opinion. I think they might be the best team in the National League when it's all said and done. So for me, as a guy that's like the Nats this year, this isn't really the spot I want to do it, just because I respect the Mets too much at this point. So no play for me. I understand why the Nats are getting hit by some money. It's an appealing price, but just not what I'm going to.
They have the better starting pitcher today. I mean, they do have the better starting pitcher, but I mean, the Mets are the Mets. I agree with you. They're a top 3 National League team, whereas the Nationals, and I'm exactly with you, Adam. I've been championing the Washington Nationals while the books are dumping on them, but not today.
Yeah, no, me too. I rode them for a couple of weeks, and it just, to me, it feels like, having watched them the past week, they need to give me a reason to bet on them again, especially against a team like the Mets, I think is one of the elite teams in Major League Baseball. In
this series, yeah, it's going to be a tough series for them.
Let's go to Slick Vic. We talked about this game yesterday, and the over got there despite a run being taken away by the best catch you'll see in the last 10 years, probably. That might have been the best. That might have been the best. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, hop on Twitter and just type in Denzel Clark, and you will see probably the best catch in Major League Baseball the past decade. Didn't matter. The over still got there. This is one that I saw a couple of people asking about in the chat. I clicked on the Kikuchi comment, but I know there was a couple people asking about this game. We haven't talked about much West Coast ball yet, so I figured we'd head out west. This is one of the few games that's on late tonight, and we've got Soriano. It's probably, is it Mitch Spence for the A's? Am I seeing that correctly? Do we have an A's starter yet?
Yes.
Okay, so Soriano and Spence. Off the top of my head, I believe Spence was the guy that stopped the bleeding, the very long losing streak, and he was the pitcher in the 14-3 win over the Twins. Soriano, I think I correctly played against him last week. Oh, he opposed Giolito in that crazy game that the Red Sox ended up winning in a walk-off. He didn't have very good stuff in that game. Brian Leonard, does Soriano bounce back here against the A's?
You mentioned Denzel Clark and that catch. That's the second catch in 3 days he's had. He had a phenomenal catch running into the wall 2 days before, and I thought that was one of the best catches I've ever seen. This guy has been amazing. I always look at it's defensive stats, and he's only played a handful of games in Major League Baseball, and he's already in like the top 5 on the season in defensive run saved. He has just been tremendous. I kind of hope he does a little bit better for his hitting so he can stay in the lineup there, but he is just an amazing athlete. And being totally honest with everybody, I had a 5% yesterday on the A's team total over 3.5. It was juiced. 4.5s were out there. Luckily, I played the 3.5. And I very much like the situation with Tokyo Brandon with Kikuchi. I thought the A's were going to knock him around. He goes 7 1/3 innings. I'm ready for bed. They're getting shut out, thinking I don't have a prayer in that game. And they score 4 runs off the bullpen in the last 2 innings. Gets me a win. Hopefully most of the people out there were able to play that 3.5, but I saw it did close 4.5 at a lot of places. So you might not have gotten that victory. So, but in this game today, we've got Spence against Soriano, 2 guys who I like better than what their numbers have shown. Mitch Spence is a guy who has bounced from the starting rotation to the bullpen. This year, 23 games in the bullpen, and he's only had 1 start, and he only goes a couple innings when he does that. But I like some of the things he does. His chase rate is in the 87th percentile, whiff rate 80th percentile. Comes in with a 4.09 ERA, 4.68 expected, 1.27 whip. He's an average major league pitcher. He's had times where he's gone out and really you take a look at him and you go, man, this guy should be in the rotation all the time. And then all of a sudden he blows up and you don't know what you're going to get out of him. Soriano's a guy that I always like because he's a great ground ball pitcher and he's pitching in a place. And we've seen a lot of fly balls in this stadium go out lately. 99th percentile in ground ball rate, 89th percentile in fastball velocity. But he's been hit hard. His strikeout rate for a guy who is in the 89th percentile in fastball velocity, he's only in the 12th percentile in strikeout rate. In fact, it's his strikeout to walk ratio is only 4.7. That's really bad. So as much as I've liked him in the past, he has not performed that well this year. 4.11 ERA, 4.18 expected, 1.59 on his whip. That is always a major concern here. Against an Oakland team, for as young as they are, they will take some walks. Slightly to the underdog here, but I don't know if I'll get there, but hopefully their offense will perform a little bit better than it did against that lefty yesterday. And, of course, Soriano's already, so maybe it'll come out a little bit better for him. But slightly into the dog here. But the Angels are playing really good ball, getting a lot of home runs. And as we've seen for the Yankees over the years, all it takes is home runs. You don't need to get runners on base. A lot of solo home runs get you victories, but I'll be passing on this game slightly.
Brian must be needling me by saying that the Oakland A's take a lot of walks because yesterday, that's exactly why I thought Kikuchi was going to walk a bunch of dudes, and they were swinging at everything yesterday. Yes, he threw 40 balls, but the A's just refused to take a pitch yesterday. They'll, you know, there's always outliers in games, and the A's are the most walking team in MLB, and Kikuchi is still the number 2 or 3 walking pitcher. So that'll come back to normal. Yesterday was an aberration and you move on. This is sports betting. But yeah, I like the A's lineup actually. And I actually like Spence, but again, sample size is small. Not exactly his number of innings pitched, but the sample size of how long he's been a starter, because they use him in spurts here. He gets 2 innings here, 2 innings there as in relief, 3 innings. He's like basically he was a long reliever for most of the season. And then he made his first 5-inning start against the Twins last game. He did very well. His stats are not bad. He has a over 4 ERA, but he's got a 1.27 respectable whip. So what I really like though is how the A's are hitting. Have them ranked 6th in MLB. I got Spence ranked pretty high, but again, sample size as being a starter is almost 0. So the X factor here is, can Spence pitch a decent 5 innings against an Angels team that's actually hitting the ball pretty well? I have them slightly above average in my rankings. I don't trust the A's bullpen farther than I could throw all of them collectively. So if anything, A's first 5, maybe, because I like Spence more than Soriano. Soriano's walking almost the same number of guys that he's striking out, which is quite scary. He's getting lucky to have a 4 ERA, in my opinion. That should be more like 5 or 5.5 ERA when you're walking that many guys. He's been getting away with it, but I don't think he's going to get away with it against a lineup like this. So I think the A's are going to put a little beating on Soriano today. And even if Spence doesn't last and fails a little bit, I still think Soriano is going to fail more. So that's how I look at this one.
Yeah, so that's that stat that the A's draw walks is mind-blowing to me, because you have a couple dudes in that lineup that swing at literally everything. Jacob Wilson will swing at something over his head, but he'll hit it the other way for a double. And then there are a lot of them are young players. So that I would bet my life on the A's regressing from being the league leader in walks, because they have so many young guys in the lineup. Typically walks, plate discipline comes with time. And you've got so many guys that are a few games removed from being at AAA. And then you have other guys in that lineup that are very free swingers. So there's no way that they're going to just continue to be in the upper echelon of the league in walks. I think that's a small sample size thing.
Let me jump in real quick. As of yesterday,
yeah,
before Kikuchi turned into Greg Maddux yesterday, the A's were walking 4 times, exactly 4.0 times per 9, which is extremely high in the league. The league average is more like around 3. So just, you're right. They'll probably regress.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that keeps up. Not with the way that not with the young guys in there. And that, you got to remember, they kind of shuffled the lineup recently. Denzel Clark doesn't make your lineup better, but he makes your team better. I mean, for sure. In my opinion, I think, whoever I forget who they had in that spot prior, but that was definitely his defense is the reason that he's going to be in the lineup for that team. They might get to Soriano though, because Soriano he hasn't really been throwing the ball by anyone, right? He's not getting a ton of swing and miss. And the A's are, like I said, they're a free swinging team. They're going to go out and attack. They are they're going to go out, attack pitches in the zone. They could absolutely hang a crooked number on Soriano. I think this is another over, because I don't really trust Spence. And depending on what part of the A's bullpen you get, there are runs to be had there, TB. You're right. And even the top guys haven't been great recently. They're not, the Miller, Ferguson, that was lights out first 5-6 weeks of the season. Not so much anymore. I think this one gets over, no problem. I see an over in this one.
You guys still need a parlay leg.
We do. I was just going to say, we've got, so what we'll do, because I can't believe this. The chat is demanding we talk White Sox. I never thought I'd see the day. That's my doing, I think.
We tried to
people
avoid
in
it.
the chat. Jack Balk says, my comment got lost in the sauce. We want to talk White Sox, Astros. There's 5 other people that are we got to talk White Sox. So we are going to talk White Sox, Astros, and then Brian and I will close the show out and reveal our parlay leg. I'm still between 4 games. So I'm going to let Brian go first. But before we do that, let's get one more breakdown in. We've got Shane Smith, who I really like, Lance McCullers, who's been better than he was at the beginning of his call up back to the big leagues, and the White Sox looking undervalued yet again. What do you think, Brian? White Sox, Astros.
First off, I want to congratulate you, Trig. One of the reasons I enjoy doing the show is for learning something and looking at the future. And your thought process about the A's and the walks made total sense. It may not have worked out so far this season, but I firmly agree there. They do have a lot of young guys. And that shortstop, I swear to God, that guy's got the best back control I've ever seen. And I'm a pretty old guy, and I've seen some of the greats. He can, there's pitches that are over his head. He can find a way to get a hit on. He's just so talented. But a great point on that Oakland A's getting less walks. I firmly agree on that. 10 minutes ago, the Chicago White Sox were just hit across the board. And as I've said many times, it's 6:55 out here Pacific. the sports books don't even open up for another hour. So this is all smart money, usually betting early in the morning. And they like the White Sox. And I saw this line last night. The opening line, and obviously it's only for one spot, but it was minus 200 plus 170. I said, there's no way that line's going to hold. Sure enough, the wise guys come in and they bet the White Sox, and I don't blame them at all. Shane Smith's the guy that I like out of this rotation. I like this rotation. In fact, they just brought up, and we don't have time to get into it now, I believe his name is Grant Taylor. He came up. He throws 100 miles an hour. He's got great breaking pitches. He's going to be their future closer. They just brought him up. He'll be out there today, available to pitch for the White Sox, and that's just a guy in the bullpen that's a really shut down guy that could, in no time at all, take over the closer role and be great. So they're starting to bring these guys up, and they've got plenty of good young players in the minors. But I like them here. Shane Smith's the guy I like. The only drawback is his chase rating is in the 9th percentile. That is got to be an anomaly, because you take a look at his whiff rate. It's in the 74th percentile. He does well on his strikeout rate. He's got 62 innings, struck out 60 batters, struck out an inning. That's usually what you get in the major leagues, and he's getting those without getting chases. That tells you that he's a guy that we can keep our eye on here. Going against Lance McCullers, who has been really good lately. He's got 6 starts in so far this year. Only a 4.44 ERA because he got bombed a lot early on, 4.41 expected ERA. But he's still walking too many people. 1.40 whip. His strikeout percentage is excellent at 84%, but his hard hit rate, he's in the 1st percentile. And what that means is he gets hit harder than anybody else in baseball. I think he's going to get hit hard by the Chicago White Sox team. I like the White Sox in this game. We've lost a little bit of value in the last 10, 15 minutes, but that's still the side I would prefer here. And Chicago White Sox are a team that I'm looking to play on. Got a lot of good young players on this team. They get a little bit more hitting. This would be a team that'll be in contention in a couple of years.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. When I take every measurable stat and put them together, and it's a lot of numbers, I see these two teams exactly dead even to the decimal, to the 10th. They're exactly even. The White Sox problem is the bullpen, but like Brian said, they're adding arms. They're going to fortify that area. I have the White Sox hitting better than the Astros. I have Smith ranked higher than McCullers. So this is one of those games where you hide the logos and hide the team name and just, subjectively look at the numbers. And you can't really take the Astros in this, in my opinion. Obviously, it's sports betting and anything can happen and we could be wrong. But this is a good opportunity to take the White Sox. If they're going to win a game in this series, it's going to be this one, I think.
Yeah, this will be my parlay leg. I had White Sox plus 1.5 on the short list, or it's a very long list. Usually it's shorter, but I don't love to lay like the minus 130, minus 135 range. As Brian said, it just got hit. So I don't think it's going to end up a client play for me because it's kind of coming out of range, but I can put it in a 3-teamer. You said the White Sox, their lineup did just get better. They called up Kyle Teal, who is a guy that's probably going to be in the big leagues. He's a highly touted prospect. I don't mind their lineup at all. I do see some of the people in the chat like, yeah, McCullers could get some strikeouts here, but I don't think that means the White Sox aren't scoring runs. Smith is a stud. We've talked about him on the show a ton. If you've listened to us, you've probably made money backing him. He's always undervalued. He comes through a lot. I saw someone in the chat say cash cow Smith first 5. The one bad start he had really wasn't even bad. It was his coach's fault for playing the infield in with a 2-0 lead in the 2nd inning against the Cubs. Led to a 6-run inning that should have never happened. White Sox has great value here. I think this is going to be a really good game. I won't be surprised if they win it, but you're going to give me plus 1.5 with the road team. Think it's a good parlay piece. Brian Leonard, what am I looking at for odds on that right now? Minus 140? I think you're muted.
Muted, Brian. Brian, you're muted.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Brian. We can't hear you.
Brian, you're muted.
Had to cough. I'm sorry. I had to
Okay,
cough.
that's all right.
I forgot about it. Looks like a minus 145 on the plus 1.5 for the White Sox.
That's fine because it's going in the parlay. I'm not really worried about the juice that much. And I see people not wanting to play on the White Sox. Like they're against the plus 1.5. They've been a machine. They've been awesome recently. Like because not only have they won some games, but they've lost some that are one-run games. And they're pretty on a day in and day out basis. Like you can pretty much take the 1.5 with this team. It's almost always playable. So, I get that they're like a bottom of the barrel team from a win-loss standpoint, but they've been very, very good against that number and a very profitable team, especially recently, like last 5-6 weeks or so. So, White Sox is going to be my leg. And we're going to finish up. We're going to give Brian Leonard the floor. We need a third leg for the 3-teamer. It's all you. What do you got?
I thought I figured this out on my own, but a lot of smart people in the chat are coming up with the same thing. Why are the San Francisco Giants and the Colorado Rockies total at 11.5 here? Palmquist has not pitched well, but his expected ERA is 3 runs lower than his current ERA. He hasn't been good, no doubt about it, but he's a better pitcher than what he has shown. Colorado on the season, 1-17 versus lefties. 1-17 on the season versus lefties. San Francisco Giants, a team that is 32-16 versus righties. They're only 6-12 versus lefties. These are two teams that currently in a scoring slump. Neither team is hitting the ball well. San Francisco's probably best pitcher, Chapman, the third baseman. He's been out the last few days, dove back into first base. He may not play. We'll see what happens. But we've got an 11.5 here. I don't understand that. As bad as Palmquist has been, he's got to be better than what he has been against this San Francisco offense is struggling. And obviously, Harrison is a guy for San Francisco that they just brought back up, highly touted. He's pitched pretty well since he's come up, small sample size. But there's no way, in my opinion, that this game should be at 11.5. We're going to play that 11.5 under is our best bet on today's show and part of our parlay.
So, Adam, are you gonna tie up the parlay and summarize it up? Before the show's over, want to mention to everyone it's $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk. So Brian probably doesn't have his plays out yet, but he will. Brian's one of the best in the business. Adam will either have one out later or already does. Which is
I don't yet, but I might have 3 out today because I have a very long list. I can't sell all 3 for $5, but yes, there will be a $5 play up at some point.
And mine's up already. So yeah, we don't do a lot of shilling. We just love baseball and we want to help you guys win some money. But yeah, we appreciate you guys in the comments. You guys are probably the most intelligent audience of any WagerTalk show. Well, okay. You're probably the most intelligent audience of any internet show out there. Let's say that. So we appreciate you guys. We actually learn from you guys too. It's great. You give us a little insight as well. So we're all on the same team trying to beat the books. That's all I just wanted to throw in there. Have a happy Tuesday, guys. $5 Tuesday. Let's win some money.
Yeah, well said, TB. That's right. I always want to reiterate that. We're all on the same side here. Unless you're a bookie, then we don't fucking like you. Then we're trying to beat you. Then we're trying to. Then we don't want any.
I'm friends with bookies, but yeah.
Yeah, so am I.
On the other side of the counter, we're friends. When they're on the other side, no.
Yeah,
nice.
But
I think my number was like 115 or 116 on that under 1.5 or 11.5. By the way.
Yeah, I got minus 115. So yeah, like TB said, we're all just trying to beat the books, trying to share different perspectives, share info, and I love that there's people in the chat that are clowning me for the White Sox pick, disagree. Totally fine with that. That's why we're able to do this. If everyone agreed, there would be no market. We wouldn't be able to bet sports. There would just be no market for this. So yeah. And always feel free to hop in the comments before the game, after the game, doesn't matter to me. We're going to still be back here doing this in the morning. Some days we win, some days we lose. Hopefully today's a winning day. And I'm going to read off the 3-teamer. I haven't run the numbers yet, but it's probably going to come out in the 6 or 7 to probably the 5 or 6 to 1 range. Let me actually get I'll get a target price again with these parlays. they're going to vary book to book. So I'll just kind of quote what I think is like the average market price for this. And for this one, we have, plus 525. That's kind of where I expected it to be. Tokyo Brandon's going with the Reds money line, full game. I am on White Sox plus 1.5. That's a spread, full game. And we're actually, everyone should be able to get this one in today because we've got 3 full game bets. So Reds money line, White Sox plus 1.5. And then Brian Leonard just gave you a total. Giants, Rockies under 11.5. Plus 525. We were very, very close to a 3-teamer yesterday. I feel good about this one. I like both of your legs. I like my leg. So I think we've got a 3-teamer here.
Let's do it.
All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, like and subscribe. Leave a comment on the replay as well. It helps us grow the show.
Very important to check the replay, like it, and leave a comment. Even if it's just comment.
Yeah,
it works.
Or hey, if it's to come troll, if you want to come, like if the Astros win 8-2 and you want to jump in and say, hey, told you the White Sox suck, totally fine with that. You leave whatever comments you want. We appreciate them all. And we'll be back.
We answer them, almost all of them too.
Try to answer most of them. Yeah.
All 3
we'll
of us.
Be back. Yeah, I go in and see what you guys say every day. And also, if you miss the show, if you can't watch the show live and you really want something answered, just throw it in the comments and I'll jot it down and we'll try to get to it on the next day's show. We want to be able to get to the comments for everyone. Even, I know this is tough for the West Coast guys like Brian Leonard up at 6 a.m. doing this show every day. Tokyo Brandon's about to go to bed. So we're trying to cater to everyone. Get the questions in on demand. He's couple shots of Fireball to get him to sleep.
Couple.
A couple. But yeah, like Will says, exit that chat, hit the like button. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. right here, WagerTalk TV.